Hello, my fellow Americans, and welcome to So Can You, the series where I do something I'm not very good at or something I've never done before, and I prove that if I can do it, so can you. It's a special year here in America. It's election year! That means it's almost time for every eligible American to exercise their right to vote. For this video, I'm going to be focusing on registering to vote and requesting a mail-in ballot. And I coincidentally received a ballot application in the mail this week. Now, since I live in Georgia, I'll be going through the process to register and request a ballot here in Georgia. However, the ACLU has an amazing, comprehensive website of everything you'll need for any state. And make sure to double check the requirements for requesting your ballot, as some states are being real m***holes about it. You're going to need a couple of things in order to do this. First, a device that connects to the internet. A phone, a laptop, or a tablet will work. Second, you're going to need an internet source. This can be home internet or any of the multitude of Wi-Fi sources that can be found in your area. Coffee shops, libraries, chain stores, these are all great, accessible sources for Wi-Fi. A driver's license or state-issued ID will speed up the process, but there is an option to register if you don't have an ID. And that's it! Let's get started! The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to search for Georgia voter registration. And we will go to the website that comes up here. It actually shows you right there how to register. Who can vote, everything like that. There we go. The Georgia of My Voter page is the page that we're going to want to go to. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to go right here in the middle and go click on register. In fact, actually what we should do first is check these key election dates. So we'll go to 2020 election dates. And here you can see your voter registration deadlines and the election date. So November 3rd is going to be the election date. So in Georgia, we have to be registered to vote by October 5th. And you can come down here and find out, so we passed September 15th, so we can already mail our absentee ballots in. So again, get those in as quickly as possible. So now back to our registration. We can check and see, am I registered to vote? So if you click on that, it'll take you back here, and then you'll put in your MVP login, and it'll tell you whether or not you're registered to vote, or we'll click on I want to register to vote. So then we'll read all of these instructions. You must have a valid driver's license or identification card issued by Georgia Department of Driver Services. If you do not have a valid driver's license or identification card, the link below will allow you to manually submit a paper registration. So at least they make that easy for you. If you don't have a driver's license, you can register to vote by printing and mailing the application. Okay, you should receive an acknowledgement within 2 to 4 weeks after submitting or mailing your registration. That's a long time, and that puts us really close to the election, so please do this as soon as possible. So if you do have a valid driver's license, we'll click on this. It'll ask you a bunch of questions. I am a citizen of the United States. I am a legal resident of the county, at least 17 and a half. Not serving a sentence for conviction of a felony. Oh boy, I have not been found mentally incompetent by a judge. So you check all of these. I'm going to click New Voter Registration, County of Residence. You'll select your county. I am consent to that. Okay, so this is a little bit strange. So your house number goes in this first section. Your street name goes there. If your mailing address is different than where you live, I guess that would be where you put that, if it's a P.O. box or something like that. Male, female, also annoying because I know some people don't identify as male or female. Maybe contact you about working as an election day poll officer. This isn't a bad idea. I'm not sure if it's paid. That's something that I would have to look up, but they're incredibly short-staffed every single time. There are always issues because of that. So if you feel like you want to do that, go for it. Then your review. Make sure that everything is correct. I swear, yes, I am a citizen of the United States, and I am at least 17 and a half years old. Check no. Do not complete this form. I swear that I do confirm all of these things. And then you'll hit submit. Now that we've done that, that is how you register to vote in the state of Georgia. We are going to go request an absentee ballot. So here's the kicker on this one. You have to be registered to vote in order to request this ballot. So since I am registered to vote, here is my voter registration page, and what you're going to do is go down here to the absentee ballot request information, click here for an absentee ballot application, print. So we're going to print our application, and we don't want to save it as our PDF. Yes, that's the right one. Black and white will be fine. So now that we have our official absentee ballot application, fill it out as neatly and legibly as you possibly can. Please print, it says, so write slowly. Make sure that you fill in all of the information that it requests. And so we will do that presently. Section 3 on the application is a temporary address where you want the ballot sent. So let's say, since I live in Atlanta, let's say I have relatives who live in Savannah, and I'm going to go stay with them for the next week, and so I would fill out section 3 with their address if I want to have the ballot sent there. But since I'm not going on vacation, since I am going to be staying in my own house, I am not going to fill out section 3, and they will send the ballot to the address that you put in section 2. Section 8, if you require assistance filling this out, you have to have the person who assists you also sign this. If you did not get any assistance filling it out, you can leave section 8 blank as well. Number 9 can most likely be left blank as well. It says it's required only if an eligible relative is making an application on behalf of the voter who is physically disabled or temporarily residing out of the county. So again, if you're filling this out yourself, you don't have to fill that one in. In section 10, if you fit into any of the categories listed there, you can check that box, and when you submit it, you will never be asked to submit an application for an absentee ballot ever again. But if you don't fit into any of those categories, unfortunately for every single election, you're going to have to fill out an application for office use only at the bottom. So we are all done with that. So now that we've got this application filled out, what we're going to do is we need to send it to the registrar's office. And luckily, right here on your voter registration page, you can mail it, fax it, or email your absentee ballot application to your county registrar. And look at that, there's a handy little link right there. So you click on that and it'll pop up and give you your specific one, so you don't even have to look for it. So you can go ahead and pick any one of these that you like. You can mail it, you can fax it, or you can email it. And since I want to do things as simply as possible for myself, I'm going to go ahead and email a picture of it to this right here. Now, I did this for the 2018 election and it worked perfectly. I got my ballot, I think, within a week. So that's probably the easiest way to do that. Otherwise, if you have a fax machine and you want to live in 1994, go for it. Once you get your absentee ballot, you're going to fill it out. Make sure that you follow the directions as specifically and closely as possible, because if there is any sort of discrepancy, they'll throw it out and your vote won't get counted. And we don't want that. We want as many people to vote as humanly possible. Once you've filled out your absentee ballot and you've mailed it, you can go back to your My Voter Registration page and go down to absentee ballot request information, and you can check your absentee ballot status. It'll tell you if they've received it, when they received your request, when your ballot was sent out, and when they received it back. So what you really want to check right here is your status. And if your status says accepted, you're good. If it says denied, call the registrar office immediately and talk to them about it. Because we do not want your vote to get lost. And that's how you register to vote and request a mail-in ballot. When you receive your ballot, make sure you go online and research every single candidate so you can make educated decisions about who you're voting for. It's easy and painless, and it ensures that everyone gets to exercise their right to vote. If you find yourself unable to submit a ballot through the mail and unable to vote in person on November 3rd, check your government website to find out when early voting starts, as well as your local voting location. Lines are usually short during early voting, and there should be a location close to you. Do what you have to do to ensure that your vote gets counted. America, if I can register to vote, If I can request a ballot, if I can vote, so can you. Hello. I'd like to take a moment to talk about a couple of issues that frequently come up in relation to voting by mail. Every election cycle, a portion of the population decries the use of mail-in ballots, claiming that they open the process to mass incidences of voter fraud. However, according to multiple studies done by multiple sources, mail-in voting has had so few cases of fraud that it's statistically meaningless. How few? In 20 years, 250 million mail-in votes cast, 143 cases of voter fraud have been proven. Now, that's not to say that some haven't slipped through the cracks, but there are a ton of measures in place to prevent voter fraud, especially when it comes to mail-in voting. In fact, it's safe enough that 5 states have moved to primarily mail-in voting for all elections. Secondly, many people are concerned about someone tampering with their mail, a very valid concern. This can be counteracted, however, by taking your ballot directly to a drop box. There should be drop boxes close to every neighborhood, and you can run a Google search for local ballot drop box locations or check the ACLU website that I posted earlier to find the locations nearest you. If you can't make it to the drop box, a select group of people are allowed to do it for you, and I'll place that list in the description below. Third, the USPS is having a really hard time right now. It's not their fault. The bag who was recently placed in charge has gutted the mail service and slowed America's mail to a crawl, and as such has limited the power of the mail-in vote. If you're going to vote by mail, request your ballot as early as possible and get it back in the mail as soon as you can. Don't forget the required postage. Alternately, take it directly to the nearest drop box. Fourth, voter suppression is a very real threat. From Alabama requiring a specific government ID and then shutting down DMVs in certain areas, to our idiot Governor Brian Kemp overseeing his own election and improperly purging 340,000 registered voters from Georgia voter rolls, to our southern neighbor's own idiot Governor Ron DeSantis reversing his own constituents' decision to allow felons to vote, to certain groups standing outside polling places and intimidating voters, to ridiculous wait times to cast your vote. Voter suppression is one of the largest obstructions to democracy in America. If you find yourself victimized by voter suppression in any way, call the Nonpartisan Election Protection Hotline at 1-866-OUR-VOTE. Finally, the President of the United States has encouraged people to submit a mail ballot and then go vote in person. This is illegal. It's not a joke, it is a federal crime, and you will be caught and prosecuted. If you vote by mail, keep an eye on the status of your ballot. If you don't have faith in the mail system, again, not their fault, and you decide to vote in person, bring your mail ballot to the voting location and give it to the poll manager. They had better allow you to cast your vote in person instead. If not, give that phone number a call. There are a couple of other ways to vote in person instead of by mail, and I'll leave a link to that in the description as well. Thank you for joining me on So Can You. Please exercise your right to get out and vote.